guys, how's it going? Welcome back. So today I'm going to show you a little bit of the basics on how to run a mixer in your home studio for recording music. So I'm going to show you my setup a little bit here and I'll explain some of the stuff too. But down below in the corner is my Marshall amp, and it's got a PGA 48 mic by Shure on it right now. I'm eventually going to get an SM57, which apparently is a much better mic for doing this with, and that's fine, but we do with what we can for the time being. But makes a great vocal mic regardless if you're going to do vocals. I'm going to use a wireless Numark mic system for this video because I love my wireless mic. Now, with my guitar channel on my mixer turned off, this is all you can expect out of the amp for the clean. And that's with my acoustic simulator on, so I'll turn it off. So as far as my amp setting goes, it's about on 1 on the amplifier itself, and the microphone is about 1/4 of an inch away from the mesh on the front of the amp where the speaker is, and right now I have mine in the middle because I kind of like it there. And my bass, mid, and treble is all centered. I do have a reverb effect turned on the amplifier, and so I won't be using the onboard effect for the mixer with the amp, but I will be using onboard reverb for my microphone, okay? And so this is more or less a proper way to set things up so that things balance out, because you don't really want to hear your main amplifier and hear the music through the studio speakers at the same time when you're in a room this size. If you're on stage, you need a stage monitor, you would want to hear yourself be able to play in there, and you'd want to hear your own vocals. But we don't need that sort of equipment in a small room. We're fine with just what we have here. So anyway, so the settings on my mixing board, my gain is at 3 o'clock, my compressor's at 3 o'clock, bass, mid, and treble are all at 12 o'clock, and my pan is actually set right in the middle. Now that's something that's kind of a user preference thing, but what I want to do is I want to actually shift the sound across. So I want to move my guitar to my right speaker mostly. So I'm going to have that at 3 o'clock, and I'm going to have my vocals at 9 o'clock. So they're opposite of each other. Now my vocal settings for this mic, because it is a preamp mic being wireless, my output from the box is actually at 3 o'clock. My gain is at 3, my compressor is at 2. Gain is at 3, compressor is actually at 3 o'clock. Sorry, I was reading off my piano mic. My treble is actually at about 9:30, and about 10 o'clock for the mids, and at 12 o'clock for my lows. And I have my effect on the board channel at 9 o'clock. Now, with the type of board that this is, I have a perimeter and I have a main effect return that has to be adjusted for the amount of effect that I want to go through the system. So I actually have my perimeter set at 1 o'clock, and I'm I would say it would be 12 o'clock if it was a dial, but this is a slider board, so it would be around that area there. And so that's my main settings there. Now, with every microphone, it's going to be different where your gains are going to be set. And when you set up a board, you want to, see if the mic is going to clip. And if it doesn't clip, it may feedback. So if it does do either one of those, you want to back off the gain until it just stops. Now, there are peak meters up here that if they start going red, that's bad. That's clipping and distorting. So you want to back it off until it doesn't do that. Now, the proper way to do that, of course, is to talk close into the microphone. So if you have, your handheld in your hand, you're close enough to your mixer, you'll be able to see this when you're adjusting it. Or you'll have a sound tech, whichever situation you're in. But in a studio like this, you're your own tech, so grab a mic, hold it in your hand, and as loud as what you would sing at, is how you want to set your gains and your compressor at, right? So if you're going to really belt it out, that's how you want that setting to be. So this way it gets the most input, because you don't want to talk quiet like a mouse because nobody will hear anything, right? And you will have an improperly set up microphone to boot. So you want to be able to talk into it as loud as you're going to sing, or just sing something a cappella, as loud as you would normally would in a song when you've got instruments, and then that's how you would set it up so that you don't peak. Now, some boards have what's called a PFL, and when you hit that button, what that does on that button, it's for each channel you'll have one. So you want to press it in, and when you do press it in, you'll see that your meters are moving, and you want to keep these meters too out of the red zone, right? And you want them around 0 or just slightly above is perfect, you know, and that's a good way to have it. And you want to do this same setup for each and everything you've got hooked into your board. So all your mics, any instruments that are going in, either whether they're through a DI box, whether they're mic'd up, what have you, that's how you want to do it. Now my piano is plugged in with a cable, and so it goes direct into the board. So of course I have to set my output on my keyboard because it's variable out through my line outs too. And I want to set that up so that I can set my gain and my compressor properly. Now I like to keep certain things with a flat response, like my guitar for example. I want it as a flatter response for my electric. For an acoustic I may want to boost certain things or take back certain things. The electric I like to keep bass, mid, and treble in the middle, and piano definitely I keep that all in the middle for bass, mid, and treble. Now some boards also have 2 mids, you know, which is another thing, and more advanced boards may have 2 trebles as well. You know, and same with your auxiliary port for your speaker that goes in front of you on stage. This board happens to have 1 auxiliary port, but some other boards have 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 auxiliary ports that you can make use of depending on how big your group is. So anyway, so with my sliders here, my microphone is actually on the 0 above the middle, and I am on the 5, I believe, yeah, 5 for the guitar, because your guitar has to be slightly lower than your microphone. You have to have more vocal output and less instrument output in order to be able to sing over top the instruments, right? So with just the amp, this is all we get. Okay, with just my Marshall amp. So not very loud, so let's turn it on. So we're going to turn that channel on. Now my house, or stereo out, is actually set just above 5. So we can increase that. Now I've got 95 watts in each speaker, and these are bi-amped powered speakers. So I'm going to raise the house up a little bit. Now that's with the pedal on for my acoustic simulator. Let's turn it off. Huge difference, because I don't want to really hear that Marshall amp itself. I just want to hear what it's putting through the speakers, because that's how I'm going to do my mix and be able to hear my mix properly. Okay. Now why wouldn't I just plug into the mixer with a DI box? Well, you can, no problem there. You don't need an amplifier this way, right? Plug right direct in, piece of cake. However, I don't have a DI box, and I like the sound better when it's mic'd up anyways, and I can do more, because then if I do need more power coming out of my main guitar amp, I can push that power through and then reduce things here and then get more output either way, depending on how I want to do my mix and for whatever I'm doing for music wise. So that's on. So let's turn the mic on. Now I'm standing this far from the microphone, so I'm, you know, about maybe almost a foot from the front of the actual microphone itself, because I've got this windscreen here, and then I've got this dual layered pop filter, okay, so we can avoid those sonic booms, boom, 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 okay, and I've got reverb turned on, obviously, and you will hear very little of that reverb once you're playing and singing at the same time, but you want to accent the effect of your voice, okay? So you don't want it all monologue, because it's disgusting that way. Okay, so let's do a little bit of a recording here for you. I want to serve you, Lord, for the rest of my days. I want to be like Jesus. I want to make the lame to walk, I want to make the blind to see. Open up the prison doors and set the captives free. Oh Lord, I want to be like Jesus. Now if you find that a little tinny or hollowy, this is where you can reduce the return effect a bit, turn your perimeter back a little, and even reduce your main effect output. Now I find that there's still a little too much treble in there, a little bit too much mid, so I'm going to turn them down more. So now my highs are about 8 o'clock, and my mids are about 7:30, and I've left the low in the middle. I want to serve you, Lord, for the rest of my days. I want to be like Jesus. Now see, with turning that back the way I did, I lost a lot of output. So now I need to compensate for that output. Now I know I can get away with adding a little bit more gain and leaving the channel the way it is, and I'm going to bring my compressor up a little bit more as well. Now I also have a high pass filter turned on this microphone too. Okay, so let's try this again. Check, check. See, that's not quite enough reverb there. Let's bring that up a little. Check. That's better. I want to serve you, Lord, for the rest of my days. I want to be like Jesus. I want to make the lame to walk and the blind to see. Open up the prison doors. And it's a little bland yet, so now we got to bring up the mids a little, I think. So let's bring the mids up around 9:30. I want to serve you, Lord, for the rest of my days. I want to be like Jesus. I want to make the lame to walk and the blind to see. Open up the prison doors and set the captives free. Oh Lord, I want to be like Jesus. So that's a much better mix. It could use probably a little bit more tweaking yet, but that's actually really good, you know, sitting there. So now with your other instruments, like your piano, like with my piano, what I have is a Yamaha. It's a PSR EW400. It's Yamaha's top of the line flagship model for 2017, and it's a really kick butt keyboard. Now when you hook up the line outs, you're still going to get audio through the speakers, and it's like, oh, you know, that'd be fine for the piano player, because then he or she could hear themselves, you know, right up front and close, and still hear me, and blah, 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 and it's going through the system. But it may be that it turns out to be an annoyance, and it wouldn't be a bad thing to get rid of that onboard sound coming out of the speaker, so you just plug a blank headphone jack in, something like one of these things, little adapters, okay? And plug that right into the headphone jack on the keyboard, and that'll disable the onboard speakers, so that then everything goes through the keyboard, and we can do a better mix that way. So that's another thing you might want to consider when it comes to your mix, is not allowing onboard speakers in your keyboard, if you have them, to come through along with what's coming out of your monitors, because it kind of acts as a doubler, and it may sound very bad in the end. And you could be recording via microphone. Like I'm recording all this live right into my Apex 555 mic that goes right into my computer. And but I do have, my mixer is a USB mixer, and so I can go from the USB direct in the computer, and then no microphone. It's all right from the mixer, pure out. I hear whatever I hear in here. Nothing else gets picked up. It all just goes straight into the computer. So my microphone would actually be disabled when my keyboard, or when my mixing board is in use in the program. My microphone would be disabled, because you can't have two at the same time like that. So it's kind of nice that it overrides and you only get just what you need for the recording in. And I will have a USB cable on this soon, and I will do a video showing you the results of recording with having USB going direct into your computer and not using a external microphone. So anyways, other things I have on here is the looper pedal. Now the looper pedal, of course, is just a pedal, so it has to put all this sound right through the output into the speakers via the mixer. Okay? Now my settings for my looper pedal is I've reduced my highs and my mids down to 11 o'clock each, and I've increased my bass to 2 o'clock. No effect on your drum beat machines. You don't want any kind of reverb or anything on those. And if you have more than one singer, only the lead singer gets reverb. No other singers get reverb on their vocals. Only your lead singer does. It's very important. Otherwise it messes things right up. So, back to the looper. Okay, so once again you can hear my guitar here. I've turned off the acoustic stimulator. So we're going to put some distortion through here. So you'd notice that my looper pedal is really blasting. I'm actually watching the meters on the video screen as I'm recording. I'm seeing they're just like going nuts, eh? So what needs to be done in that case is you have to reduce the gain input of your microphone a little bit that's recording direct into your computer. But if you're not using a microphone, hey, you don't have to worry about it, because everything goes direct into your program. You can reduce it there. And my looper pedal is, believe it or not, it's only set at 30. Okay, so it's below, and its gain setting is not quite at half, and if I put it anywhere near the half or above, it actually clips or peaks out my peak meter. And my compressor is actually at 12 o'clock, and I do not have the high pass filter on because that is for microphones. Okay, but here's what you would hear just by itself without the amp going through the mixer. Now with the mixer, with it mic'd up, So there is definitely a noticeable difference in what's going on here and how things are being amplified and cleaned up, you know, and that's why you need a mixer in a home studio recording area when you're doing music, right? You need that mixer so you can balance things out, mix them out. You get your mix already mixed before you record, then you just dump it to your computer. You have no adjustments to do later. The only thing you may have to do is remove any hiss sound that may get put through the line, okay? And that's easy enough to do the entire file like that, because even Adobe Audition and a lot of other audio programs can take away the hiss from the entire file, right? Like hiss we normally hear in records, right, and on tape cassettes. You don't really hear it at all on CDs, hence digital recording, right? So compact disc. But to get that clean studio performance quality sound, you need to get rid of the hiss. So going direct to USB will actually remove a lot of that hiss out of your file, right? But that also depends on the quality of your mixer, depends on your settings and everything else, whether or not you're going to have any hiss at all, or if you're going to have a ton load of it, you know? And you don't want to remove every single stitch of hiss, just enough that it's barely even noticeable at all, okay? Because, excuse me, if you remove all the hiss completely, 100%, it actually deadens your recording. It takes all the definition out of the tones, flattens them out, it sounds like crap, okay? So you need just a touch of hiss, okay? So anyways, that's the basics on how to run a home studio mixing system with your instruments. I didn't bother with the piano because there's really no need to. The main thing was, you know, dealing with vocals and your guitar, and, you know, if you like the sound of your amplifier, then it's better to mic it up, but keep it down really low, and then bring all that output through the mic, and then out into your studio monitors. So, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll do the best I can to answer them, and we will catch you on the next one. All right.